everybody. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Juan Carlos Brando, and today we're starting with the show of the attorney Margaret W. Wong, who has been working on the immigration field for over 45 years. She has over 45 years of experience since 1977. We're already in 2022, and a lot of things have happened since then until now. So, welcome to the show. Feel free to send your questions, to send your concerns, and Ms. Wong will be able to answer your questions regarding to immigration. So, thank you so much, Ms. Wong, for having us today. How are you doing?
I'm very good, thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Wong. And well, let's start by talking about the. This is almost the end of the year. We're already in October, only 2 more months to go, and it's going to be 2023. So, 3 years after the pandemic, a lot of things have changed. A lot of bans have been removed. President Biden recently said that the pandemic is over. And well, we would like to know what your thoughts are about this year that is going to an end. And will we have immigration reform? Is it not going to happen? What is the immigration weather right now?
It doesn't look too good. Absolutely no immigration reform. Number one. Number two is another court cut down DACA. The DACA thing, but there is new law that will be coming out actually tomorrow, beginning of end of October, beginning of November, or middle of October, saying DACA will remain, but they will not approve new cases. Another court strike down DACA, saying that it was wrong of Obama to give DACA. So for now, those of you who have DACA, make sure you don't have criminal records, because we have some cases where they had DACA for years, they have criminal records, now they couldn't get it anymore. But now they refiled DACA because they took care of the criminal record and immigration won't approve it, not because they don't or have criminal records, because it's considered new filing. So those of us who have DACA, please protect your DACA. But as far as DACA kids getting green card right now, there's no not even rumors is possible. So those of you who have DACA but came to America undocumented, I do advise you to get parole. Because parole lately, it's pretty approvable, and give them a good reason. If you could do a parole, that'd be great. So it became a legal entry DACA, because DACA it's not necessarily a status, but some paperwork to give you work permit. DACA is not like TPS. TPS is a status, but DACA is technically not really a status. But that's okay. Just keep that work permit. No criminal records. Do a parole if you enter undocumented. But if you enter with a working visa, or spouse or child with a working visa or tourist visa, then you don't need a parole unless you really want to visit.
Okay, thank you so much, Ms. Wong, for this answer. And don't forget that you can call. The phone number is 216-279-3984, 216-279-3984. Attorney Margaret W. Wong, who has been working on this field for over 45 years, and she will have an answer for you. So, Ms. Wong, we have the first question today. Is Hi, Mrs. Wong. I am from Venezuela. My TPS was approved. What happens if I don't apply for the renewal?
That's okay, you don't need to, but why not? Because there are two renewal. You renew the work permit on the form is 765. If it's just TPS, you do the 821. If you want to save some money, for example, you already have a C8 work permit, you don't need a TPS work permit. Absolutely, and you did it right. You do the TPS, then you don't need a 765 work permit, you're fine. But when it comes to TPS, absolutely keep renewing it, because I don't want one day you cannot late register, because once you do not renew your TPS or is terminated because of a criminal record, if you want to refile, then you have to wait for the registration period.
Thank you so much, Ms. Wong, for your answer. And don't forget that you can call the office. The phone number is 216-279-3984. 216-279-3984. That's the phone number that you need to call and the attorney Margaret W. Wong will be able to help you out with this case. So don't forget to call 216-279-3984, 216-279-3984. Ms. Wong, we're receiving a lot of questions regarding to work visas. So how is the situation with work visas, especially for engineers or doctors that want to come from overseas to the United States?
Right. Work visas are interesting because there's really no work visas in America. Unlike what people say, oh, America is such a shortage of good worker. Unlike Europe, even Japan, Singapore, they do have work visas for people who want to come in as a au pair, come in as a maid, come in as a seamstress, but America, no such thing. So the work visa we have is either you have you have a PhD, you have a MD, which is a doctor, you have advanced degree or bachelor's, and you can come within a J1 waiver. A J1 visa. J1 have two types. One needs a waiver. That means before you can get a green card or H visa, you need to go home for 2 years as a subject, as a 212E subject. Another type is more the au pair, more the international programs. You're not subject. That means you can stay here and switch it to a student visa. So J1 is a work visa. A lot of doctors come to America on J1s, and then we do a waiver later. The second type of work visa is H1B. So you have an engineer degree, but H1B now, in my days, when we came to America in the 60s and 70s, H1B is unlimited. So we do H1Bs and years are unlimited. So they give you 1 year, 1 year, 3 years, 3 years, forever and ever. And the people who don't need a green card, because some people just want to work for a few years and go home. But now the law changed. There's only 65,000 and then 20,000 for bachelor's and master. You can only start applying in February 1st on the lottery, and then April 1st to April 5th file the actual H1. So that's H1B is becoming very, very restrictive. Not only do you have a limited number, the location is restricted, job description is restricted. You could do part-time, but the salary has to be pretty up there. So you couldn't just say, oh, I'm willing to do this job for 25,000 full-time and I have a PhD degree. They won't allow that. That's an H1. So you have J1, H1. Now, for more the Latino people, you can do an H2A, H2B. That's a temporary visa. But right now, there's a lot of fraud coming out from Monterey. Instead of coming undocumented, now people are paying like $6,000, $8,000, $10,000 for H2B visa. Good for 1 month, and a busload of people will come through the border. Now immigration borders are picking up. In fact, I'm getting calls now saying that, is there a fraud reporting place where people don't know it's fraud? You just pay someone the money and thinking that, oh, they get a legal visa to come to America. They don't have to, be raped or, go through the line, the 4 days of, river and stuff like that. But these are actually fraud waiver. The sad thing is, even though you paid that kind of money, there's a lot of money for someone who's making $10, $15 an hour. You pay that kind of money, you don't get a social when you come to America, you don't get a job, and also it's fraud. So if you one day marry someone or found a legal way to get a green card, immigration will check where's your paycheck, how did you come to America, which bus give you a ride, and so you couldn't answer. That's a problem. So that's a H2. That's an O visa, saying that if you have published quite a few articles as a journalist, as a singer, you have one huge album, like the Adele's, right? Those are O visa EB11s. Those are 100% green card. But for people like them, I don't necessarily know if they even want a green card because they have to pay British tax, they have to pay American. So we always ask, how did you get your green card, right? Like Arnold Schwarzenegger. I mean, everybody who's foreign, Justin Bieber, what green card does he have? Does he want a green card? Because knowing him, he 100%, 1,000% qualified for O visa. But when it comes to O visa, also pay. So if I get an O visa, I only work in America for 5 days a week. I work back in Canada 25 days. It's worldwide income. Green card also. So even though I keep my green card, I work in Canada 4 months, I work in South Africa 1 month, I work in America 6 months, it's worldwide. That's why a lot of people now, the higher the earnings, the more they don't want a green card or even a working visa. And I struggle a lot with that because there's a lot of people who sell a lot of like maybe oil or Britannica, the computers. I mean, these are people, vacuum cleaners who makes like millions because they're awesome salesmen. They help people start franchises. In the olden days, there's a lot of Chinese who went to Japan to sell products that's made in Europe and stuff like that. So those people, if they get a working visa in America, they need to pay worldwide tax, and a lot of people didn't want that, because well, that's another thing. So you have O visa, you also Mexican and Canadians have TN visa, the free trade. So the visa are very, very limited. That's the problem.
Thank you so much, Ms. Wong, for this information. And don't forget that you can call. The phone number is 216-279-3984, 216-279-3984. So this is a person that has been texting us on the inbox, and it's funny because this person says that we are his or her heroes. So this person says, "Hi, thank you for this show. You two are my heroes, and I watch you all the time." I have several messages that this person sent, and this person is from some country in Asia, I think Indonesia or India or Bangladesh. I'm not sure. This person says, "How can I change my status from student visa to green card through a job? Thank you."
That's great. So nowadays, when in my days, we have 18 months of OPT and we don't need a job letter to even get the OPT. Nowadays, to get your OPT, you have 90 days to report on a job offer. It could be free, it could be for not a profit, you don't have to be paid, but you have to tell them what's the relationship with that job with your training of your degree. So if you're information science, you should work even in a restaurant, you should be working with that computers and not as a cook or as a waiter. So that's the first thing. The second thing is I hope you have more from Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, but not from China or India. So if you're from Hong Kong, you still go through Hong Kong quota, which is worldwide. But anytime you're from China and India, it takes 9 years to get a green card through EB2 or EB3. That's another problem. But if you're from Bangladesh or some country that's not China, India, it takes only about 1.5 years. So the way to do it is, especially if you have science degree, a STEM degree, you have a bachelor OPT that's 12 months. Now you get a STEM OPT that's 24 months. So within the 36 months, you start filing a labor certification. The employer who files your permanent labor cert does not have to be the same employer that gives you the STEM OPT or regular OPT job. So, and you need to remember that, because a lot of people, especially big companies, they're getting smart now. They don't like to sponsor you unless you are like 1 year on OPT or 3, because they don't want to sponsor you with so much work and money, and now you quit on them after 6 months. Because the new law, not new, but more than 10 years now, the law now is you need to only work for the perm employer for more than 6 months, and you protected the green card when you become a citizen. So at citizen time, they'll ask, where have you worked? Where did you live? Make sure you work there for like 6.5 months. Then protect. In my days, it's 1 year. If you do a labor certification, you have to work for the same employer for 1 year. But it doesn't matter. So if you are MBA, you shouldn't work as a cook, because then they're going to know, why would an MBA work as a cook? We have cases where they're coming overseas, so they have like doctors who sponsored up housekeepers. When they go to the housekeeper interview, American Embassy interview, they'll ask, hey, how come you have so much money in the bank? Why would you be a housekeeper when you already a doctor or a lawyer overseas, because they just want to come to America? So these are questions they ask. But the same you need to find an employer to sponsor you for green card. As long as you're not from India, and India takes 9-10 years, China takes 5 years. Other countries takes only 1.5 to 2 years. That's how you do this. It's not that hard, but you need a good employer that's willing to sponsor you.
Okay, thank you so much, Ms. Wong. And this is a very good answer. I know a lot of people come on a student visa, and after they do that, they want to stay here. And if I don't remember, if I'm not wrong, I had a family, a relative that came long time ago, and she stayed here for about 8 years on a student visa, renewing it and renewing it, and she never got a job or something like that. and she had to leave the country because she didn't do anything as a professional. She only kept studying, but she never fixed her status. So it's something difficult that we need to take care of if we get a student visa. Thank you so much, Ms. Wong, for this answer. And don't forget that you can call the phone number 216-279-3984, 216-279-3984. The next question is, good afternoon. I've been trying to reach someone at the practice via your website because I am looking for an experienced attorney to assist in submission of my N400 naturalization paperwork. Thank you. So
Oops.
is this a complicated case?
Right. It's if actually you don't really need a lawyer to do to file N400. It's really easy. You can actually file N400 on the web now. You don't even need the two pictures anymore. You just need there's a form called 1450. You can do this the credit card, debit card payment. You don't even need two pictures. You don't need cheese printing. It's very easy. The hard part is you should use a lawyer if you have criminal records. Even a DUI depends on jurisdiction. DUI is not a CIMT. It's not a crime moral turpitude. Food stamp in Ohio sometimes it's not. Food stamp fraud is not considered a CIMT sometimes. So these are criminal. If you have criminal record, you should use a lawyer. If you use a marriage case, if you had a marriage case, 751 is not approved yet, you want to get naturalization in 3 years, you should have a lawyer because if you're not together, I don't recommend 3 years. And I'm sorry you couldn't reach us. I don't know because I don't, yeah, just call us. Ask for Mr. Leo, 216-566-9908. And I'm really sorry about you can't reach us.
Okay, thank you so much for this message. And the person in this comment is Jamie. So if
Sorry.
maybe I can just copy the message and send it to someone in the law firm
Right.
so that we can reach out to this person. Don't forget the phone number is 216-279-3984, 216-279-3984. Hi, Margaret and Juan. Hope you are well. I am a client. My mom, who just recently passed, petitioned for me in 2017. I am in the United Kingdom, but what happens now? Is the petition still valid?
Yes, there are two ways to do this. If you were in America or your spouse or your children were in America the day of death, then the petition continues, no problem. But if she died and you were or nobody was in America, it would take 1.5 years to do a humanitarian reinstatement, and you should get reinstated. I don't see a problem. So I'm really sorry about the passing of your mom, but as long as you have first, you can do a humanitarian statement. Second, see if there's any relatives in your America. It should be sort of immediate to be the co-sponsor because mom died. You need someone to take her place to do 864, and that person needs to be a relative, cannot be just a friend. If those two requirements are met, your petition will not die. That's a case that you may want to call us or connect with us or just email us and see what's the date of filing, what's the date of death, were you or anybody in America, and check your family. Does she have a spouse, even a stepfather who can sign for you, or does she have sisters and brothers, or you have sisters and brothers who can co-sign? Then I'll figure it out. Another thing is if you already have siblings who already got green card and citizen, they can also sponsor you. If she see how she got the green card, if she got it through a marriage case and that relationship happened before you're 18, then he could also sponsor you even they divorced because the step relationship happened at marriage. Even though divorced, as long as she got a green card, you should be able to use some sort of old priority date or something. So there are other things you should do, but don't assume if someone died, the case is gone. It's not gone until you pass the 9th inning. And I'm very sorry your mother died.
Thank you so much. She's adding that she has a sister in America, but she's on a G4.
Oh, you came from a smart family. G4 is a serious visa. That's a government visa, a not-for-profit. A and G visas are serious visa. If you come from Taiwan as diplomat, it's an E visa. But aside from Taiwan, G visas are serious. And congratulations.
Okay, thank you so much, Miss Wong. So this person can do something. We just need to check the paperwork to check all the case. But Nicole, if you can call the office 216-279-3984, 216-279-3984. If you have the case number, it's going to be easier to find your case. But if not, we can find it somehow with the last name, or there are some ways that we can find your information. So just call today, 216-279-3984, 216-279-3984. She says that she's gonna call Emily. So thank you so much. Okay.
Also, surely knows Emily. I'll tell
Yeah.
Emily that.
Yeah.
Emily will be very happy. Someone knows her. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much. Ms. One, the next question is, hi, ma'am. You are always very informative. Can you please tell me the difference between 7-digit and 9-digit traveler redress number or redress
I
number?
don't know the answer. What's traveler redress? Is that the A number?
TSA.
Huh?
TSA.
TSA?
Like to go through security.
Oh, that I don't know because
Oh,
is that an immigration case?
No, that will be
No,
the
TSA is
Department of
not.
Homeland Security.
Okay, that's more Department of Homeland Security stuff, and I'm sorry,
I
I don't
think,
know the answer.
yeah, I think this person last week was stating that the immigration officer mixed up her documents, and they thought she was lying, and they apparently canceled her visa, if I'm not wrong.
Oh,
So,
so redress. I see what you're saying. That's probably an A number, so it's a 9 number. If there's a 8 number, you add a 0 on top of it. If that's an A number, sometimes if it's a 201, you don't need a 0. But if it's a 22, then you need a 022. And if it's a 9 star, then you don't need a 0 because I've been doing it for like 45, 50 years. But if that's what you meant, it should be 0. It should be 9 digit. Yeah. I don't know what you meant by 7. There's never a 7-digit number.
yeah,
Because a
probably
big
is.
number is 5. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much, Ms. Wong. Don't forget that our attorney Margaret W. Wong has over 45 years of experience working on the immigration field, and she has been helping thousands and thousands of families every single year to submit their immigration cases or to solve their situations, reuniting families as well in this country. So don't forget that you can call the phone number 216-279 3984, 216-279-3984, and offices in 9 cities of the United States: Atlanta, Chicago, Columbus, Cleveland, Memphis, Minneapolis, Nashville, New York, and Raleigh, North Carolina. That's the all of the offices, and you can call 216-279-3984, 216-279-3984. Gopal Jain is asking, I have received a notice of intent to deny for L1A. I was present in the United States from 2019 to 2021 for 800 days. So no, say I don't meet
Right.
the
Let me
1 year
explain to you.
eligibility.
Number one, don't feel too bad, Mr. J. You're probably from India. Indian and Chinese L1A is practically impossible because that's the only way to get a fast green card. So you see a lot of Chinese and Indians that come to American L1A because L1A the first time is actually easy. In your case, because in order to do an L1A, you had to have worked in parent company in India or wherever the parent company is different from E. If it's an E company, both your nationality or your place of birth has to be from the country that have an E treaty, like Japan. Hong Kong, no E treaty. I'm from Hong Kong, so I could not do an E. But because I'm from Hong Kong, L1A does not care about what country I could do an L1A, right? So you're from India, I presume. NOID is a 30-day response. RFV is 90 days, so you have not 30 days to respond. Let me explain to you why. This is a very general prompt for L1s. It's because, for example, you came to America in 2019 as a student. So of course you signed, your parents or you signed the I-134 or money in bank. So you know you have some money, otherwise you couldn't get it. So from 1919, 2021, you're in America over 3 years. You probably filed a L1A sometime after 21. So you're supposed to work as an executive or manager for the foreign company on foreign soil for more than 1 year out of past 3 years. So if you filed in January of 2022, you should have worked for that Indian company 3 years ahead. So between January 2019 to January 20 to January 21 to January 22, which is 3 years, you have to be there for more than 1 year. More than that, it's not just 1 year consecutive. You could work there January to March, come to America, you work there from April to June, come to America, work there from August. So it doesn't have to be consecutive. As long as 12 out of the past 36 months, right, you filed in 22 March, right? So you need to be there. So you filed in March 2022. So between March 2022 and March of 2019, you had to be in India for more than 1 year, not consecutive, even cumulatively, right? In this case, you were in America. I don't know if you left and come back. Even if you left and come back, you could not have maintained a student status, because how do you live in America for 3 years and come back to go to school and go back there to work, because there's no tax return in India to show you work there. That's why they give you a NOID. NOID means that you need to submit a lot of paperwork, otherwise they will deny. Now, I hope in this case you still have your student visa, whatever visa you're on. So even if they deny your L1A, you still have a visa. The sad thing is sometimes it takes immigration like 8 months, 9 months to give you a NOID. In the meantime, once you found the L1A, you stop going to school. So now you're out of status. But if you leave the country, the 180 days didn't start. But if you are staying here, the 180 days started, because you have no more, you couldn't go back to another H1 or L1. So I feel bad for you. This is, if you had a lawyer, this is what we do as a lawyer. That's why I always like to talk to the person, because if it's a friend of yours I talk to, he doesn't know that you already went to school here. But if if a good lawyer talked to you immediately, they would say, hey, how did you work for that company for 1 out of the past 3 years? That's the first thing about L1A. And also from India, it's very tough to start with.
Thank you so much, Ms. Wong. And yeah, this person is adding a lot of other comments that about the taxes. I filed taxes for the last 18 years. I have all the tax returns, and I was on B1 visa at the beginning.
Oh, so you're out of status now?
And
Because I'm an owner, can they have discretion? No discretion. 1 out of past 3. That's a law. No, that sounds so mean. No.
Okay, thank you so much for your answer, Ms. Wong. And this is a nice comment that I will put on the screen just to close the show today. You're handsome. Thank you so much. And Ms. Wong got very charming personality. And if
73 years old.
yes, Ms. Wong is awesome, and she is charming on the screen. But if you get to be close to her, you will see how charming she really is. She is a loving person. She cares about people. She cares about people working with her. Well, it's a beautiful personality, and we're grateful and thankful that that I got to meet you, Ms. Wong, back in 2018, I think. But we started to work together in 2020, right before the pandemic, and I saw all the struggle that we're already getting out of it. But it was a hard time, and through hard times, we see how people really are. Thank you so much for being so supportive all the time. And thank you so much to every person that has joined us today. Thank you to Leo, who's running the show there in Cleveland. And thank you so much for this studio here. It's the last time we're meeting here. We're moving to a new place, so it's gonna be hopefully a better place to have the show with more confidence and with a better background for everybody that is joining us. Thank you so much, Ms. Wong, and see you next week.
Thank you, Mr. Huang.
Thank you. And don't forget to call. The phone number is 216-279-3984, 216-279-3984. Attorney Margaret W. Wong with over 45 years of experience working for the immigration field. 216-279-3984, 216-279-3984. Attorney Margaret W. Wong.